How to develop safe work procedures. A safe work procedure, or SWP, is a written step-by-step instruction on how to carry out a job construction activity safely and efficiently from beginning to end. When carrying out any construction task, the workers may be subject to grave risks or hazards. They could get hurt or fall ill or lose their lives due to the ignorance of such risks or hazards. In essence, safe work procedures is a means to educating and creating awareness among the workers about the hazards and risks associated with the work handled. A safe work procedure enables to carry out job hazard analysis, or JHA, on particular tasks or activity. A job hazard analysis, or JHA, is a technique which examines any particular activity or job task in relation to accepted norms of health and safety standards. Essentially, in any JHA, every basic step of the activity or a task is scrutinized to identify potential hazards or risks. Then it establishes the safest way or mitigation measures to perform the said task or job. The final outcome of such a process is defined as a safe work procedure, or SWP. Developing safe work procedures is essentially a team effort which involves not only top management but also the workers or employees directly involved in the job or a task or an activity. Such wide involvement of employees will not only enable the construction team to analyze the potential hazards from different angles but also eliminate the risk of ignoring any potential hazard. The team for developing safe work procedures or carrying out job hazard analysis should involve all workers or employees directly involved who are familiar with the task or the job and its associated risks and hazards. The supervisory staff, specialists such as occupational hygienists, maintenance staff, ergonomists, and design engineers. Involving knowledgeable and experienced staff in the job hazard analysis and safe work procedure development process will certainly ensure accuracy and a complete safe work procedure. Besides the above, when developing a safe work procedure or job hazard analysis, it is essential to consider the following areas: regulatory requirements, personal protective equipment requirements, training requirements, responsibilities of each person involved in the job, a specific sequence of steps to follow to complete the work safely, permits required, and emergency procedures. Basic steps in developing safe work procedures. When developing safe work procedures, it is important to define what is a job task. It means specifically that a specific work assignments such as the excavation of deep foundation or operating an overhead crane or operating an air compressor. Hence, it is essential to note that job hazard analysis or safe work procedures are only suitable for specific tasks, not for jobs defined too broadly. Also, job hazard analysis or safe work procedure helps to identify the plants and materials to be used and when it is required. The following steps are involved in safe work procedures: proper identification and selecting the work task to be analyzed, separating the identified tasks into a series of basic steps, determining potential hazards or risks on each step, deciding the preventative or mitigation measures to avoid or minimize these hazards. Identification and selecting the work tasks to be analyzed. Preferably all work tasks or activities should be subjected to a job hazard analysis. When considering the time and effort required in carrying out a job hazard analysis, it is not practical. Another aspect is whenever the plant's raw materials or equipment or the working conditions change, the job hazard analysis for the particular task has to be amended. For these reasons, it is essential to prioritize the jobs that are to be analyzed. In essence, the most critical work or tasks that have obvious risk would be examined initially. It is mandatory to develop safe work procedures in accordance with the procedures stipulated in the Occupational Health and Safety Act, or OHS. This ensures that particular work is performed by competent and experienced people while complying with applicable regulations. The OHS Act gives guidelines on specific job procedures such as working in confined spaces, provisions for working alone, working in flood-prone excavations, working on electric and overhead power lines, maintenance and safe operation of plant and machinery, etc. Such safe work procedures have to be considered first when developing the safe work procedure. The other aspects to be considered are tasks that have a high propensity to accidents or near misses, which could have an appreciable threat to health and safety, the tasks that have already recorded fatalities, illnesses, or environmental damage, the tasks that require 2 more workers at the same time, newly introduced tasks or activities for which the hazards are unknown previously, tasks that may be subject to change in terms of methods, equipment, and materials used, tasks that may have been affected due to changes on regulations and standards, tasks that are non-routine which can subject the workers to greater risks or hazards. It is important to note that every task in the workplace needs a job hazard analysis. Notably, any routine job can have unknown hazards or risks. Hence, an effective job hazard analysis will make tasks safer and ensure the best ways to perform the same. Separating the identified task into a series of basic steps. Once a task is selected for job hazard analysis, it will be separated into small sequential steps. The usual practice is to use a form which all the basic steps could be listed. Then all the potential hazards and risks will be listed against each task. The recommended solutions will be listed against each potential hazard. As mentioned before, all the team members should participate when preparing the basic steps in a task and subsequent analysis. This will foster ownership and acceptance of all hazard mitigation measures of work tasks, including easy implementation. Determining the potential hazards or risks on each step. Based on the past experience knowledge, accidents reported, observations of the job, and the sound judgment and potential hazards are listed in each step. Essentially, for each step, potential hazards or accidents and the ways to minimize them are determined. Some of the potential hazards to be noted. Is there a possibility of any body part getting caught? Can tools, equipment, plant, and machinery used on the task cause hazards? Can the worker be hit by a falling object from above? Can the worker slip, trip, or fall from a height? Can the worker suffer injury or strain, spine injury from lifting, pushing, or pulling objects? Is a worker subject to extreme heat or cold? Is a worker exposed to excessive noise or vibration? Is a worker working under an unlit area? Can inclement weather conditions affect safety? Is harmful radiation present? Can the worker be exposed to harmful, toxic, or hot substances? Is a work area polluted with dust, fumes, or vapor and harmful gases, such as carbon dioxide? Based on the above and sound judgment, potential hazards could be lifted against each work step. Deciding the preventive or mitigation measures to avoid or minimize these hazards. At this stage, the job hazard analysis accurately decides the mitigation measures to control and minimize hazards identified under each work task listed. In summing up, a job hazard analysis is an essential ingredient in developing the safe work procedures for any work. The success of a safe work procedure depends on teamwork or worker collaboration on all stages of the development process. It not only promotes ownership of the whole safe work procedure process, but also communicates the importance of it to all workers involved in the workplace. Once a safe work procedure is developed, the outcome must be communicated to all workers who are involved in the work tasks or activities. Management must find prudent and acceptable ways to communicate these to the workers and their importance. Finally, it's vital to note that safe work procedures or SWPs are a living document and periodically should be reviewed for its validity so that continual improvement can be made and to keep them up to date.